Hello aspirants, welcome to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy. Today 29th August 2024, displayed here is the list of articles that we will be discussing. The first article, wanted a strategy to change climate research to disaster management. It is taken from the newspaper The Hindu and it comes under GS paper 3. And the second article, Supreme Court underlines jail is exception, bail is the norm even in money laundering cases. This article is taken from the newspaper The Indian Express and it comes under GS paper 2. And the third article, the promise of unified lending interface, it is taken from the newspaper LiveMint and it comes under GS paper 3, and we will be also discussing prelims practice questions in this session. Before moving to the discussion, there is an important announcement from the Shankar IAS Academy. The admission for the pre-storming UPSC prelims test series 2025 is currently open. The first batch will be started on 6th September 2024. Link for the registration is in the description. And also, Shankar IAS Academy's All India UPSC Mains Open Mock Test 2024 will be conducted soon, and the link for the registration is in the description. Do registration and challenge yourself. Without much delay, let's begin with the first article. Look at this newspaper article which talks about the importance of turning climate research into disaster management. In this background, we are going to discuss the Disaster Management Act of 2005 and the Disaster Response Fund, and also technologies adopted by different nations to deal with the disaster. First one, the Disaster Management Act. It provides the legal and institutional framework for the disaster management. It also established the National Disaster Management Authority chaired by Prime Minister, and it established state disaster management authorities and district disaster management authorities to coordinate the disaster management efforts in different levels. And it also established a National Disaster Response Force. It includes teams and battalions to provide ground level relief and rehabilitation in the wake of disaster. Coming to the Disaster Response Fund, it is a fund allocated by the government as a part of budgetary allocation. It includes National Disaster Response Fund and the State Disaster Response Fund. Like the government, the Financial Commission of India also played a crucial role in relief. That is, the Financial Commission recommended for fund for immediate relief. And the 15th Financial Commission of India adopted a new methodology for state-wise allocation based on the past and the present vulnerability of states to the disaster. Coming to the fund contribution, in general cases, the central government will provide 75% of the fund and the states will be providing remaining 25%. But in the case of northeastern states and Himalayan states, the central government will provide 90% of the fund and the state government will be providing 10%. Coming to the primary responsibility, it falls on the state government. The state government is responsible for providing immediate relief and rehabilitation to the people in the wake of disaster. What if the disaster is severe? If the calamity is severe, if the fund requirement under the state disaster relief fund is not enough, then the additional assistance will be provided by the central government under the National Disaster Response Fund. Coming to the technologies adopted by various nations to deal with the disaster. First, we will start with the Japan. Japan is known for earthquake and tsunami. So in 2011, Japan suffered a devastating earthquake, and recently also Japan suffered a devastating earthquake. And to deal with this earthquake and tsunami, the Japan developed earthquake early warning system. It detects the primary wave or the P waves of the earthquake to warn the people. So it will help in reducing the loss of human life during the disaster. And we can see that in 2011, the Japan suffered an earthquake, and this early warning system saved millions of people. Coming to the Netherlands is actually a nation that lies below the sea level, and therefore to deal with the flood, the Netherlands developed a comprehensive and a complex system for management that includes the delta work, that is a complex system of dams, dikes and storm surge barriers to protect the people and the nation from flooding. And the second important initiative by the Netherlands is a Room for the River. It is a program that allows safe flooding in a designated area, and therefore it will prevent the loss during the time of flood. And coming to the case of India, India will also experience severe disasters during the time of monsoon and rainy season. Therefore, India developed remote sensing technology and the geographic information system to deal with the incidents such as flood. And you can see during these two systems, that is the remote sensing technology and the geographic information systems, were very useful during the time of 2018 Kerala flood, and that enhanced the disaster management and also real-time monitoring to provide evacuation. So in this topic of the disaster management, we discussed what is Disaster Management Act 2005, what are the provisions of it, important provisions. Then we discussed the National Disaster Response Fund, and then we discussed the different technologies adopted by the nations to manage the disaster. In this background, try to answer this prelims question. The question is, consider the following statements. The statement 1, the Prime Minister act as the chairperson of National Disaster Management Authority. The statement 2, all states have a disaster management force. And statement 3, presently National Disaster Response Force consists of 12 battalions. Which of the following statements are correct? Option A, 1 and 2, option B, 1 and 3, option C, 2 only, and option D, all the above. Look at this newspaper article taken from the Indian Express. Supreme Court underlines bail is the rule, jail exception, even in PMLA cases. Article 21, higher right. So recently the Supreme Court granted bail to a person charged under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, citing that the Article 21 is important even in cases like PMLA. So in this background, we are going to discuss what is money laundering and what are the legal and institutional mechanisms that we have in India to deal with the money laundering, and what are the efforts taken in international level to deal with the money laundering, and what are the challenges in it. First, we will start with the question, what is money laundering? Money laundering is a process of concealing the origins or sources of money obtained through illegal activities such as drug trafficking and other illegal activities such as tax evasion. So we have to understand this is obtained through the illegal activities. That means money is obtained through the illegal activities means it will support the illegal activities such as drug trafficking and even terrorism. So it is also a global issue. And the money laundering, the primary goal of the money laundering is to integrate the illicit funds into legitimate economy. That is, simply we can say, converting the black money into white money. So money laundering is a process of concealing the origins or sources of money obtained through illegal activities, and the primary goal of the money laundering is to integrate illicit funding into legitimate economy. Now we are going to see what are the legal and legislative framework we have here to deal with the money laundering. The primary legislative action is the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. So it is the primary legislative act we have to combat with the money laundering, and the PMLA allows for attachment, seizure and confiscation of proceedings of time, and the various amendments in this act. Recently there was an amendment in 2019. It enhanced the power of certain enforcement agencies to implement the PMLA like enforcement directive. And in India we also have certain other laws to combat the money laundering, such as the Binami Transaction Prohibition Act 1988 and the Black Money Undisclosed Foreign Income and Assets Imposition of Tax Act 2015. And these are the other legal framework we have here to combat the money laundering. And coming to the institutional mechanism means what are the certain agencies in India to combat the money laundering. The primary agency is Enforcement Directorate. It is a central agency responsible for the enforcement of Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And second important such agency is the Financial Intelligence Unit. It collects and analyzes financial data to combat money laundering and terrorist activities. And third such agency is Central Bureau of Investigation, that is CBI. It is involved in investigating complex cases involving money laundering such as corruption and bribe. And the fourth important agency is Reserve Bank of India. It plays a regulatory role that ensures the financial institutions follow the anti-money laundering norms. And coming to the international scenario, we have something called Financial Action Task Force. It was established in the year 1989 by the G7 countries to combat the money laundering in the international level. We know that money laundering can support many illegal activities, including terrorism. So terrorism is a global threat. So to prevent funding to such terrorist organizations, the Financial Action Task Force is created. And India is a member of this Financial Action Task Force since 2010. And related to the money laundering, we have a case that is Vijay Madanlal Chowdhury case 2022. In this case, the Supreme Court upheld the validity of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act's provision. At the same time, Supreme Court also emphasized the importance of the principles under the Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. And coming to the challenges and issues of the combating the money laundering, the first one is stringent bail provisions. That is acts like PMLA, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, are often criticized for infringing on the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21. That means the strict laws such as Prevention of Money Laundering Act can affect the personal liberty of the people. But recently, the Supreme Court, in the judicial intervention, emphasized the balance between the law and the principles of the personal liberty. The second important challenge in dealing with the money laundering is overlapping jurisdiction. That is, it can lead to, we know that in India, we have different acts and different agencies to combat the money laundering, and this can lead to coordination issues and delays in the investigation. And the third important challenge is complexity in prosecution. That is, the intricate financial transactions involved in money laundering cases makes the prosecution more challenging. And the fourth one is global coordination. We know that money laundering is a cross-border issue. It is a global issue. It can support terrorist organizations like that. So money laundering often involves cross-border transaction and it requires international cooperation. But in various times, it is very difficult to achieve this international cooperation to combat the money laundering. So in this discussion, we discuss what is money laundering, what are the legal and legislative framework in India we have to combat the money laundering, and what are the institution mechanisms, and one recent case, and also we discussed what is financial action task force, and we discussed what are the challenges in dealing with the money laundering. With this understanding, try to answer this question. The question is, with the reference to the Prohibition of Benami Property Transaction Act 1988, consider the following statement. The statement 1, it defines Benami transaction and prohibits all such transactions. And second statement, the act provides for confiscation of Benami property without the provision of appeal. Third statement, the appellate tribunal shall be established under the Prohibition of Benami Property Transaction Act for hearing appeals against any order passed by the adjudicating authority. So how many of the statements are correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 1 and 3 only. Option C, 2 and 3 only. And option D, 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option B, 1 and 3 only, because the act provides for confiscation of Benami property without the provision of appeal. Here the statement goes wrong. It provides provision for appeal. So therefore the statement 2 is incorrect. The statement 1 and statement 3 are correct. With this, let us move to the next article. Look at this newspaper article taken from the LiveMint, the promise of frictionless lending horizon. So it is talking about a frictionless lending, and recently the Reserve Bank of India is planning to launch a public technology platform for frictionless credit, and that is the unified lending interface. In this background, let us discuss more about the unified lending interface. First, what is unified lending interface? The unified lending interface is a new system by the RBI to provide faster and smoother credit facility to the people, and it integrates various data sources into a unified system, and it allows lenders to access necessary information seamlessly and enabling them to provide frictionless credit. And why there is a need for unified lending interface? What is the problem with our present credit system? First major reason is the fragmented data. At present, the data of the people are scattered under different entities, and it is very difficult for the lenders to access them. And the second one is enhance the credit facility. That is, the unified lending interface will enhance the credit facility to small business people, farmers, and rural borrowers who are facing challenges in accessing credit. And the third major reason is it will resolve the problem of operational inefficiencies. That is, the lack of a unified platform leads to increased documentation and other complex formalities, and it will take longer time for approval. So this is one of the major reasons why the people from the backward communities or remote areas are approached informal credit facilities, and that is one of the major reasons for their underdevelopment too. So this problem will be solved once the unified lending interface is implemented. And what will be the impact once the unified lending interface is implemented? The first one is it will promote the financial inclusion by bridging the credit gap between the people. And second one is it will ensure economic growth. That is, it will improve the access to the credit for the small business and agriculture sectors. Therefore, it will lead to economic growth. And the third one is it will increase the momentum of India's step towards the digital transformation. And coming to the benefits of the ULI, that is unified lending interface. First major benefit is streamlined lending process. By integrating the data from various sources, it will reduce the time and the paperwork of the lenders. And second one is it will lower the barrier to access credit by promoting the financial inclusion. Like we already said, the unified lending interface will reduce the credit gap between the people. And third major benefit is reduced operational cost. That is, the unified lending interface, like we said, it will integrate the data from various sources, and it can provide accurate data about the borrowers to the lenders. So therefore, the work of the operational cost is reducing in this way, or the work of the lenders are reduced in this way. Therefore, it will reduce the operational cost. And the fourth major benefit will be enhanced credit assessment. That is, through integration of the data, it will provide accurate data about the borrowers to the credit providers. Therefore, they can also provide accurate credit facility to the borrowers according to their financial status. And the fourth important benefit is the consent-based data sharing. That is, the ULI ensures that the borrower's data is shared only with their consent, and it is a significant step to protect their privacy. And coming to the challenges related to the ULI, first major challenge is ensuring the security and the privacy. Even though it is a consent-based data sharing system, still we have concerns related to security and privacy of the borrowers. And second one is complexity in integrating the ULI with the existing financial system. That is, the implementation of the ULI will totally change the present financial system. Therefore, integrating this ULI into the present financial system can lead to a lot of overlapping and confusions. And apart from this, adopting this ULI is also another major challenge. In this discussion, we discussed what is ULI and how it is going to transform the financial system in India, and what are the benefits of it, and how it will promote the financial inclusion. In this background, try to answer this prelims question. The question is, which of the following statements about the unified lending interface recently introduced by the Reserve Bank of India is or are correct? The first statement, ULI integrates various data sources to streamline the credit lending process, similar to the role of UPI in payments. And the second statement is the main goal of the ULI is to enhance credit delivery exclusively for large urban businesses. And the third statement, ULI employs standardized APIs to reduce the complexity of technical integrations for the lenders. Fourth statement, data privacy and the risk of AI bias are key challenges associated with the implementation of ULI. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option A, 1 and 3 only. Option B, 2 and 4 only. Option D, 1, 3 and 4 only. And option D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. The correct answer is option C, 1, 3 and 4 only. The second statement is wrong because the objective of the ULI is not to enhance credit delivery exclusively for the large urban business. It will enhance credit facility also to the underdeserved people and rural areas. Therefore, the statement is incorrect. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's newspaper analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button and also give your feedbacks as comments and also share the content with your friends to make the competition more helpful. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update. Thank you. Have a nice day.